The host will help you to display the presentation based on the configuration of the day before. Turn off or mute audio and video during the presentation unless for the presenter. Participants are required to attend the entire class presentation session. Please fill in the attendance list in the link that will be shared later in the chat room. Please write your comments or questions to the address speakers in the public chat during the presentation. Please identify your name is yourself, name, institution, and country. Committees will choose questions randomly due to the time limitation. Okay, before we start the class presentation, we will start to have a group photo session. So please, Miss Irma, to help take picture.
Okay.
And all the presenter can turn off your video.
Okay, dear all. See me again. Stay on camera. You will get picture. Please give your smile. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Okay. Next slide. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Okay. Next slide. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Next slide. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Okay. Last slide. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Okay. Thank you, Miss Kiki. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. So before we start our class presentation, let me introduce our moderator today. Please the operator to turn off the CV of moderator. Turn on CV of moderator. Okay, our moderator today is, wait a moment, still blur in my PC. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry, I'm still have a blurred picture. Please wait a second. Okay. Okay. Our moderator today is Mrs. Hernani Yulinawati STMURP. Mrs. Hernawati is our lecturer in Environmental Engineering Universitas Trisakti with specialist urban air quality management. Mrs. Hernani also have association in Indonesian Society of Sanitary and Environmental Engineer or IATP committee with period 2018 and 2022. Background education, have Bachelor of Environmental Engineering Universitas Trisakti, Master of Urban and Regional Planning University of Hawaii at Manoa, USA, member of Senate of Faculty and Landscape Architecture and Environmental Technology Universitas Trisakti, and also Vice Dean in Finance and Administration for 2013 until 2020 period. And for the professional training, Mrs. Hernani also have NASA Apply Remote Sensing Training Program, RSET, on how NASA measure air pollution, application of low-cost sensor and their network for urban air quality monitoring, KASANS, Queensland University of Technology, Advanced Institute on Disaster Risk Reduction with the system approach for slow onset climate disaster. So for this class presentation, I will let to Mrs. Hernani to lead this season. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kiki. My voice clear? Can you hear me? Thank you, Miss Kiki. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Your
it's
voice
clear
too.
enough.
I think it more little bit loud.
Okay. Is it enough louder now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think enough. Okay,
Thank you, Miss Kiki, for introducing me.
you're welcome.
And thank you. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the class presentation session of 5th International Seminar on Sustainable Urban Development 2020. Thank you very much for your preparation to join our seminar. And again, my name is Hernani Yulinawati. I will be your moderator for this session. And also, I would like to thank you for the advisory board. Maybe you are joining this session. Prof. Dr. Karim Hassan Awan from University of Baghdad, Dr. Nada Halifa Karibi University of Baghdad, Prof. Madyalar Dr. Suhardi Maulan, University Putra Malaysia, Prof. Madya Dr. Maud Fairuz Shahidan, University Putra Malaysia, Prof. Madya Dr. Nursida Ujang, University Putra Malaysia, Mr. Sujit Singh, Institute for Spatial Planning for Environmental Research, Mr. Jaswant Singh from Institute for Spatial Planning and Environment Research, and Dr. Mary Mariam Margrita from Institut Teknologi Del Sumatera, Dr. Joseph Barita Sarmanik, STMSC, Institut Teknologi Del Sumatera, Dr. Harnaidi Maisir from Sekolah Tinggi Teknologi Pekanbaru, Riau, Prof. Dr. Insinyur Haji Hasairin Samaullah MN, PhD, Universitas Tridinanti, Sumatera, and Mr. Indra Hartarto Tambunan, PhD from Institut Teknologi Del Sumatera. Hope you have a great time joining this session. Some of you may be also the presenters. And I would like to explain a little bit more about our session. Our session will be divided into 3 sessions. First, about drainage, hydrology, and space. The second is about water quality management and sanitation. And the third, reuse, recycle, and waste and community. And each session will have about 5 presenters, and each presenters will speak about for 7 minutes. And after that, we will have question and answer for 15 minutes. So please be aware about the time. And also please mute your speaker during this session until your turn to speak or present. And in total, our session will last about 2.5 hours. So be prepared for the great session. Okay. And I would like to introduce our speakers for the first session. Maybe the committee or the organizer can show the presenters list. The session 1 or the first session will be Dr. Rosmalinda Permatasari. Are you here, Ibu Rosmalinda? Okay. The second presenter will be Mr. Muhammad Yasrib or Mr. Rusiku Tajri.
Rusiku Tajri.
Okay, you are here. Okay, the third, Miss Alicia Welsan or Miss
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. And the fourth, Mr. Herika.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and the fifth, Miss Shahida Motsarif or Miss Nursida. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you. Okay, so all of you are ready here. So I will give the first time for Dr. Rosmalinda Permatasari, MT from Universitas Tridinanti, Palembang, South Sumatra, Indonesia. Her okay, and her title will be Hydrological Characteristics of Surface Runoff in Saka River Basin. Please have your time.
Please give me a button.
Nggak mati lagi.
Share video. Okay, thank you. Hello, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen.
Please.
Okay, thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rosmalinda from University of Tridinanti Palembang. Represent research team Yuanita Windusari from Sriwijaya University and Reni Andayani and Anifida from University of Tridinanti. Okay, I'm going to present our paper with the title Hydrological Characteristic of Surface Runoff in Saka River Basin. Okay, this is outline. The outline content are first introduction, search methodology, result and discussion, and the last conclusion. Part of introduction, the studies were conducted in the Saka River Basin, South Sumatra, was part of Combring watershed with areas to 1,239.41 kilometer square. And the figure 1 is showing location of the study area. Next is still by introduction, the availability of water in Saka River provide for irrigation, drinking, and for ecosystem service. The consistent water supply from the healthy upper Saka is of paramount importance for the sustainability. And next, this is purpose the research. First is to define the flow hydrology characteristic of Saka River in order to restrain and to ensure resource sustainability. And the second purpose to identification hydrological of surface runoff in global land cover and land use, flows, and regime basin. Next, this is research methodology. The first methodology, input data collection and processing, model in to process land use, soil, and weather data. Land use or land cover is another important segment of data that is essential for hydrological simulation of the basin. And the second, model assumption and option selection for application. The model assumption used to develop hydrologic model for identification and estimation surface runoff in Saka Basin. And the third, evaluation of the runoff simulation. The simulated surface runoff on monthly basis for calibration period from 2008 to 2017 display from result generate from the rainfall generated to the flow. Okay, this is the result discussion. First, land use and land cover. The second figure show the land use and the covers to the area. The global result of the land use and land cover analysis refers to the correlation of hydrological in the study area that influence dependable flow, return period, flooding, and coefficient of flow regime in land use and land cover categories. And this is a result analysis. The result shows maximum flow occurred in January and value 2,038.93 meter cubic per second, and minimum flow was in October with the value 5.78 meter cubic per second, and we saw it average the flow in 10 years period, so number 74.31 meter cubic per second. And this is the last result, basin regime coefficient analysis. The rate value of basin regime as well as analysis of the physical condition of Saka basin. And it can be used as a reference for the classification of fluctuation of flow sustainability. And according to the result of analysis for data during 10 years, it's clarified the Saka basin in the poor classification. And from data analysis, result the coefficient variance at up 10%. The verified classification explain the bearing capacity Saka basin and the degradation level are accomplished. So furthermore, the determination classification needs advanced identification by reviewing the ultimate carrying capacity of water set in the water availability and level of water set damage. And this is the last about conclusion. The first, the land use and land cover in Saka basin consists secondary forest, shrub, plantation, and mixed farming primary. And the second, hydrological analysis of the Saka basin based on rainfall transfer to full data. The results show the maximum flow occurred in January and the minimum flow was in October. And then the dependable flow is for drinking water requirement. And the result of the basin regime, the coefficient variant, it indicates the river condition in critical or poor category. Okay, it's all. So thank you and please welcome if any suggestions and any discussion for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rosma Linda, for your precise time. Please to turn off your screen first, because the question will be last after the 5 presenters present their papers.
Okay,
now, thank you. Now we will turn to Mr. Rusiku Tajri from Institute Technology of Bandung, and his title will be Assessment of Flood Risk Reduction in DKI Jakarta, Cengkareng Barat Subdistrict. Please have your time for 7 minutes, Mr. Rusiku.
Okay, thank you everyone. Hello everyone, my name is Rusiku Tajri. I'm from Water Resource Management and Engineering, Faculty of Civil Environmental Engineering, Institute Technology Bandung, Indonesia. Today I'm going to present to you at virtual seminar Risk Assessment 2020. The title of our presentation is Assessment of Flood Risk Reduction in DKI Jakarta, Cengkareng Subdistrict. My team consists of myself, Muhammad Yasrib, Salsa Bila Rifda Asrini Krisanti, and Muhammad Syahril Badri Kusuma. For today's presentation outline is first introduction, second result methodology, third result and discussion.
Sorry, Mr. Rusiku, can you put the full size presentation? Because in the screen, in the still sides. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
For today's presentation is first introduction, second result methodology, third result and discussion, fourth mitigation efforts, and fifth mitigation evaluation, and sixth conclusion. Introduction. Due to the recognition, time is one of the well-known area in Indonesia, and the plus magnitude due to the limited rainfall capacity of the local drainage system. This plus has a significant amount of transaction in life. One of the most significant effort in reducing the flood risk is the improvement of Cengkareng drain. Channel is the main drainage system in the area, so there needs to be a study of problems in Cengkareng sub-district. Then we're going to introduce you the disaster management cycle. Mitigation is important to prevent effect. Preparedness is to be prepared for emergency and able to act ahead of time and use training to take care of process and others. The response is to protect people and property instead of emergency or disaster. The action focus will gradually shift as the response stage progresses. Emergency issues gradually shift to establishing operation and cleaning up. The stakeholders also need to be planned the reconstruction of the infrastructure. The final step is recovery. Recovery is to return operation to normal. One of the most important flood management is flood risk assessment. The purpose of this research is to find the flood risk index according to the Federal Guidebook and mitigation report and evaluation. And this is our research methodology. First, we prepare data such as social, economy, physical, environment data from BPS, and of 50 years rain data from BMKG. Then we process data using the assessment to get a flood discharge, flood level, vulnerability analysis, capacity analysis, and risk index. And the data is flood map, vulnerability map, capacity map, and mitigation simulation. For results and discussion, Cengkareng sub-district is passed by Kaliangke watershed. Kaliangke often overflows during the rainy season and floods the Rawabuaya, Duri Kosambi, and Cengkareng areas. The river has a length of 91.25 km with a river drainage area of 48 km. Data of used to update the 100-year rainfall return period, then distribute for 6 hours using the monologue method. Hydrograph then processed by the SCS method, and the peak discharge for 1 hour year period is 1,276 by 64 per cubic per second. And based on simulation using ACRAS, most of the current sub-district is high index. As high index. The adjacent area around the river such as Rawabuaya, Kaliangke, Kapuk, and Cengkareng categorized as high, Duri Kosambi, and Cengkareng categorized as low because it located far from the river. The result then processed into a hazard map. The vulnerability is calculated for each category of social, physical, economic, and environment. Also, area is categorized as medium vulnerability. The vulnerability is on medium due to the densely populated area and urbanized area in a small area. This indicates that environment and community condition may cause the inability to face the threat of disaster. However, this condition is balanced with a series of activities carried out as an effort to eliminate and reduce the threat of disaster. Capacity map created using 5 components from BMKB Guidebook in its disaster management policies, early warning system, people knowledge about disaster, and reduction of basic risk factors, and the preparedness of the institution. The index for capacity varies because all urban villages do not have a similar risk factor reduction factor, meanwhile others areas did not have. Based on the hazard, vulnerability, and capacity of the area using equation risk was obtained. The areas have low risk, while the other 4 areas has a high risk. And for mitigation effort, dike construction for structural mitigation assessed in this study. Several scenarios of dike using 3, 5, and 7 meters are simulated using HECRAS. The risk then compared with existing scenarios, we can see that the dike construction can decrease the inundation significantly. The affected area decreased especially in the Cengkareng and sub-district area. The 3-meter dike can eliminate the risk in the West Cengkareng village. However, downstream of Cengkareng sub-district are still affected. The 7-meter dike only affects the 3 village district. Dike demonstrated effectively to reduce flood by increasing the river capacity. To achieve the target of sustainable disaster urban development, evaluation are needed in disaster management. To obtain the accurate risk map, first we must evaluate the data and information used. Second, evaluate the threat parameters. And third, evaluate the level of risk in the area. And to evaluate recommendation and choosing flood control effort, first, we must evaluate the efficacy of the design of control activities. Second, evaluate of control effectiveness. And third, determine the control where. This evaluation aims to maximize the outcome, and evaluation also becomes a checkpoint for each stage. For conclusion, based on the simulation result, by conducting a 100-year period floods, 4 sub-areas in Cengkareng sub-district are at high risk of flood. This area are Kapuk, Kedong Kaliangke, East Cengkareng, and Rawabuaya, while Duri Kosambi and West Cengkareng are in low risk. The high risk is caused by high hazard of flood inundation and low capacity index, while the vulnerability index is the same for all area. Conclusion, to reduce the flood risk, some mitigation effort is needed. They selected as the effective mitigation because most of the flood occurred because the sea level rise and land subsidence from the sub-district area. They also easier the normalization of the Cengkareng drain due to the social and economic factor. That of 3, 5, and 7 were assessed and compared to the existing risk index. That shown a significant effect reducing flood height in the sub-area. Other mitigation plan also important to be implemented. Local villagers need to be educated about flood and all land preparation to decrease the vulnerability index and increase capacity index. For further disaster recommendation to maximize the outcome, mitigation evaluation also recommended. A further study is needed because the proposed deck is still causing flooding in other areas outside Cengkareng sub-district, especially in the upstream area. Thank you everyone for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Rusiku Tajri, for your nice presentation. Now I will turn to the third speaker, Ms. Alicia Wilson, and she will present analysis of climate impact on urban landscape design adaptation, a case study of Green Lake View, Depok, West Java. Ms. Alicia Wilson is from Faculty of Landscape Architecture and Environmental Technology, Universitas Trisakti. Please have your time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Harani. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alicia Wilson, and I'm from the Department of Landscape Architecture, Universitas Trisakti. I will be the presenter for our paper presentation today, which is entitled Analysis of Climate Impact on Urban Landscape Design Adaptation. Its case study is in Green Lake View, Depok, West Java. I'll begin with the introduction of our paper. The Earth's climate has always changed throughout the history. However, the current climate change since the mid-20th century is of particular significance because it's 90% likely to be the result of human activity. To connect the dots, Depok as the second highest urbanization rate after Jakarta had caused a deteriorating effect on the urban environment. This is because the demand of housing areas are needed to be met, and also means there will be undesirable thermal effects and other unwanted changes when the natural lands are replaced by artificial surfaces. Now, adapting landscape and places to these changes is an urgent challenge for all those that have a role in management of both built and natural environment, because the recognition of this problem can be the base to shape built environments to overcome and mitigate them from causing future problems. This is to ensure a sustainable future, not only for the people and places, but also for flora and fauna. The next slide is about the purpose of the paper, is to first state the mitigation and adaptation strategies for urban landscape design towards climate change. And second is to analyze each of the 5 aspects that contributes to urban landscape design. Lastly is to know which urban landscape design can be specifically be applied to Green Lake View. Next, this is the research method that is used as a descriptive qualitative with the support of questionnaires to the residents. This is to first validate the initial conditions of the site. The questionnaires given will be using a Likert scale as a rating system to quantify the perception of the residents toward Green Lake View's green open space. Now, in response to climate change, there are 2 ways that can effectively improve, which are multifunctional landscape and sustainable landscape planning, design, and management. This is because multifunctional landscape allows the coexistence of both compatible and competing uses, efficient use of limited space, support diverse functions, and their functions. By providing a holistic approach to protect, conserve, and enhance the urban landscapes, sustainable landscape development is the essence to a successful design. It is through an incorporate range of mitigation and adaptation principles that are interlinked and mutually reinforcing. This approach will insist in mitigating and adapting to future climate change and ensure future sustainability of landscape and communities within them. Now, the table below shows ways to mitigate and adaptation strategies for urban landscape design towards climate change. The key concept is to understand that the two are interrelated, but each operates a different way. By mitigating is to make sure to reduce the amount and speed of the future climate change, and the adaptation strategies is to make sure that it adjusts to a changing environment in the near future. Here, the table below validates the initial conditions of the site. As you can see, the respondents agreed that urban landscapes should be well designed in their environment. They are also unable to engage in outdoor activities. They also say that it is poorly designed and also agreed that it is to be redesigned for a comfortable outdoor environment. Now, there are 5 aspects of urban design that impacts climate change. First one will be about water cycle. Water has been an important aspect of every living thing, yet the relationship between people and water resources are rarely prioritized. As you can see, the result of unprioritized planning of open spaces results in tsunami, flooding, polluted water, drought, and water-sensitive urban design may be the answer to the first problem. Or as we can say, the figure above shows the recommended design and its purpose and effects on climate, such as building blue-green roof, by retention, rain garden, permeable surfaces. Each aspect is as important as it is both a way to mitigate and adapt to future climate change. Now, the second would be impact on building green infrastructure. As climate change increases, the need to explore other urban infrastructure strategy becomes required. It is to remember that green infrastructure is not merely a program or a short-term solution, but it is a long-term ecological goal. Now, as you can see below are the pictures of green infrastructures that can be applied to redesigning Green Lakeview. Now, in battling climate change, the smallest detail is the key to successful urban design. To choose the right materials that, 1, meets the basic human needs, 2, is to use the resources effectively, 3 is to preserve or restore the surrounding ecosystem. Now, these are the list recommendations that can be applied, such as permeable pavements, using local on-site materials, lessen the use of paint, and build to standard. Now, here are the impact on drainage system. Now, due to global warming, heavy precipitation events are expected to increase in frequency and also intensity. And conventional drainage system may not be able to handle today's or future environmental changes. Using SUDs, like on the table above, is proved to have a great importance and positive effects of such a system on nature and both the environment. Lastly, the restoration of trees remain the most effective strategies of climate change mitigation. Therefore, the best way to combat climate change with planting the right species should be done. Above are the criteria of plants species selection that can be planted on Green Lakeview site. Now, the plants that reduces carbon dioxide are on the first row, and the plants that absorbs pollutants are also on the second row. Now, in conclusion, listed above are the recommended design that are able to mitigate and adapt to future climate change and could be applied to urban landscape design for mixed-use sites such as Green Lakeview, Depok, West Java, which is 1, to build blue-green roofs by retention, rain garden, use permeable surfaces. 2, build green infrastructure. 3 is to choose the local materials. 4, planning drainage system ahead both on-site and source control to avoid using conventional drainage system. And lastly is to plant the right species of vegetation that could adapt to future changes. And that brings us to the end. I'd like to thank you for the wonderful opportunity to be able to present my paper, and thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Alicia. You're on time too. So I will continue for our fourth speaker, Mr. Herika Muhammad Taki. He's from Faculty of Landscape Architecture and Environmental Technology, Universitas Trisakti. And he will present the paper titled Physical Geography in Planning and Indonesia's New Capital Towards Integrated Tropical City. So please have your time.
Thank you very much for the time. My name is Herika Muhammad Taki. I'm from Department of Urban and Regional Planning, Faculty of Architecture, Landscape, and Environmental Technology, Universitas Trisakti. My title is Physical Geography in Planning and Indonesian New Capital towards Integrated Tropical City.
Kok bilang my title, my paper title gitu ya, my presentation title.
Okay. The outline is a content of introduction, a second research methodology, research and discussion, and conclusion. Introduction. Urban planning science has three main aspects, namely economics, social, and physical. Urban planning through physical aspects can be explored using a physical geography approach. And the physical geography has 8 indicators such as geology, geomorphology, pedology, meteorology, climatology, hydrology, oceanography, and biogeography. Indonesian government has planned that the new capital will be located in the areas of Penajam Pasir Utara and Kutai Kertanegara in East Borneo. This research is interested in investigation the location of the new capital from the perspective of physical geography. My purpose of study are first to investigate the location of the new capital from the perspective of physical geography. Second, to find out the impact of natural disasters in the new capital. And the third, to develop the new capital towards integrated tropical city. In the research methodology, we collect data from many data and from different sources like Geographical Agency, Soil Research Institute, and etc. For the analysis, we use special investigation technique with the analyzing each indicator. And result and discussion, the first for the aspect of geology, the composition of the rock are generally very odd ultramafic rock formation. The geological structure is the fault, lineament, and fault, especially the ones in the Samarinda anticlinarium. Penajam Pasir Utara is the large hill area with the anticlinal and synclinal. The second, geomorphology. The topography of the 40% of the land area is categorized as area with the slope above 40%. As much as 43% of the area is located at the altitude of 100 until 1,000 meters above sea level. The third, pedology. The capital's land is dominated by peat, which is the source of the water and carbon storage, and is able to prevent global warming. The fourth, meteorology. The weather range from 30 until 34 degrees Celsius, which is categorized as area with the humid tropical, with the rainfall level ranging from 1,500 until 4,500 millimeters per year. Fifth indicator is climatology. The average day of the rain in the Penajam Pasir Utara Regency is as much as 10 days per month, with the average rainfall of 230 millimeters per month. The climate of the Kutai Kartanegara Regency is strongly influenced by the wet tropical climate. 6. Hydrology. The area is covered by forest or water contained area, so that water storage is relatively high with good quality. Not Penajam Pasir Regency, there are spring, wells, and natural dams. Oceanography. Located on the coast with the directly adjacent to Makassar Strait, high waves from 0.445 to 0.66 meters. And lastly, biogeography. The new capital has a large peat forest area, categorized as tropical forest biome, has one of the highest diversity level of the plant and animals in the world. Toward integrated tropical city, first, the new capital has the minimum rise of disaster like flood, earthquakes, tsunami, forest fire, volcano, and landslides. Second, the location of the new capital is one of the world lands that produce most of the world oxygen quantity. Third, the planning of Indonesia's new capital towards integrated tropical cities must cover various aspects, especially physical geography to ensure optimum carrying capacities. Four, the characteristic of the integrated tropical city is the ability to control stable open green spaces, the city condition that has been accompanied by environmentally friendly technology. And fifth, achieving an integrated tropical city needs awareness of the negative effect of the climate change. For conclusion, Penajam, Panser Utara, and Kutai Karnataka are stable for the new capital towards sustainable city in the coordinates with the integrated tropical city, a balanced development strategy between economic growth, social life, and environmental protection, so that the realization of the new capital city can also develop a habitable place, not only for the current generation, but also the next generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Herika, for your presentation. So we will move to the last speaker for this session, Miss Shahida Motsharif. She is from University Putra, Malaysia, and she will present a paper titled Community Gardening and the Capacity to Enrich Social Bonding in Urban Neighborhood. Please have your time, Ms. Shahida.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. My name is Shahida Binti Muhammad Sharif. I am a PhD student from University Putra, Malaysia. And I would like to share with you my concept paper for today. And the title for the presentation is Community Gardening and the Capacity to Enrich Social Bonding in Urban Neighborhoods. So basically, this is the outline, just like everybody here, introduction, research methodology, results, and the conclusion. So it started really on the reason for this research started when I realized that many people are actually migrating to urban areas or searching for good opportunities, but then they are subjected to a very impoverished living conditions, such as they have to work very long hours, they receive low wages, but they have to pay quite a lot because it's the very high cost of living in the urban areas, poverty, unemployment, social problem, or they have to live close or near to deteriorated environment. And to make it worse, this urban expansion has led to a decline in public open spaces because they want to facilitate the urban expansion, and it encroaches on urban green spaces areas. So it becomes a dilemma for the people who live in urban areas because, and recently, just because of the COVID-19, many people have to work from home. So it means that they have limited access or time to urban green spaces and very limited opportunities to meet other people outside. And then it also impacts on their well-being, such as most of them have resulted to be living in sedentary lifestyle, and it caused them a high level of social and psychological stress. So from what I see, the research problem, because of this urbanization and modern lifestyle, it becomes very repetitive for the urban population. I mean, they have to go to work, they have to commute, but now because of work from home, they no longer commute, but there is like a very gray boundaries between working time and socializing time and their own time. So limited social network, limited social support and things like that has eroded the community life and values amongst us. This becomes worse when there is a very little attention paid to social infrastructure in urban green spaces. And also because of the erosion of the social life, we are now facing solidarity problem and lack of cohesiveness as a society. And this is a socio-psychological concerns for urban population because it can cause us to suffer from social isolation and loneliness. So from what I see, the way that I can approach this research problem is to investigate the capacity of community garden to address erosion of community life. Either the people who participate in community gardens can actually have a better social well-being outcomes compared to those who do not participate in this kind of activities. So just for a brief introduction, community garden is part of urban green spaces. It is also considered as the third place and also part of urban nature that has the capability to link urban landscape with environmental and social psychology. So it sits in three different big fields, and it is very much capable to be part of social hubs for activities and events. And this is considered to be competent to address some of the social isolation and loneliness issues among the urban areas. So to address this problem, I'm going to investigate on the socio-psychological aspect of this um, community erosion issues that is from social attachment and social bonding, um, and to see either it can help people to have a meaningful community life and offset some of the social isolation and loneliness problem. So for the purpose, the first purpose is to investigate the effects of community gardening on social bonding in urban neighborhoods and to investigate the relationship between social demographic with social bonding. So since this is a concept paper, these two objectives is what I propose to be able to be done if we investigate it according to my conceptual framework that I will present later. So this research is very much related to goal number 11, which is to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. So for the research methodology, so I use literature review because of the capability for it to answer research questions and also because it able to help me to create a firm foundation on knowledge and theory development, and also would help me to assess, critique, and synthesize the literature on a research topic that would enable me to maybe create a new theoretical framework or a new conceptual framework. So for the results and discussion, the first part is the way I see all the interconnection between all these topics. Sense of community is what is central that I wish to address. So what I can say is that it is very important for us to measure the social dimension or the social bonding of community gardening and see how it can help or it affects strength of social ties, sense of belongingness, and level of familiarity amongst the participants of the existing community gardens. And it is very important because these are all related to social isolation and loneliness issues that I have mentioned earlier. And as you can see here, urban green spaces is very much capable to improve social well-being of people. And for the methods, there are two methods that I found can help us to investigate the effects of participating in community gardening um, on social attachment, which is the first is the questionnaire survey, and the second is the in-depth interview. This is the conceptual framework that I mentioned earlier. So it is proposed that if we want to see how high or how strong is the social connectedness can be generated by participating in community gardening and see how it affects our social well-being. And these are the measurement or the variables or the measures that needs to be investigated or asked among the participants or the respondents that are involved. Of course, the first will be on social cohesion, bondedness, the characteristics or the demographic, their frequency, and also the nature of their participation at the community gardens. For the conclusion, the outputs of the study it is expected that I would be able to gather the data on the effects of community gardening on social bonding, and also the relationship between social demographic and how it would affect social bonding attachment or attachment level amongst the participants. And the benefits of the study, of course, the findings is hope to facilitate integration of socially isolated people and or lonely back into social networks, and also to extend the social network of isolated people so they would have a very meaningful interactions between human to nature through community gardening. That's all from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Shahida. And I would like to applause to all the 5 presenters just for this session. It's a great presentation. And I see that for the first speaker's presentation are based of the research, and the last one is for the current or future for the PhD research, still a concept paper. I hope you will be have good research, and we hope from the question. We are still waiting for the question from the participants. Right now, I have one question already from Inat Shani Fatuna to Miss Alicia. Maybe Miss Alicia also can see the chat room, and I will read the question. It's a really interesting presentation. My question is how you persuade other places to design their urban landscape and building according to the climate impact, because we know there is still so many places in Indonesia that doesn't consider climate impact as important aspect. Please, Ms. Alicia.
Okay, thank you for the question. Let me answer as I can. This paper is based on my research in my thesis. So before I begin to design, I had a conversation with the owner of the site of Green Lake View. They talked about how they feel that the people living, the residents living, feel that it's not comfortable enough. So they asked, how can we change this situation? Now, as we all know, it is really getting hotter in Jakarta, especially, also in Depok. And besides on making the environment comfortable for the residents, we also have to think about how much can a landscape designer improve the conditions of the residents. Now, it actually occurs in my mind that since climate impact is very minimal, or not everyone in Indonesia is aware of climate change, I decided to tell the owners that my design can help mitigate or adapt to future climate change. However, this may be a very difficult situation, especially knowing our conditions in Indonesia. This should be educated, informed, not only for classes, but this should be something talked about more often, so people can actually be reminded that climate change is real and is happening now every time around us. And I think that should be kept in mind whenever, especially a landscape designer that wants to design or plan or manage a site. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Alicia. I hope Miss Inat can receive the answers well. And yeah, we see, I think it's not only in Indonesia about climate change, is still
Yeah, it's
important
all
issue
around
that
the
we
world.
need to address, to be aware. Yeah,
Yes.
and I think I thank you. And I have a second question directly in my notes. This is for Mr. Rosiku. Can you turn on all the presenters? Can you all turn on the video to make easier to answer the question? The question is, what would you do if it turns out that the mitigation that you have planned is to provide a dike that is not like what is it? I think it's if it's not working, yeah. Is there another mitigation plan if the mitigation you described will fail to be implemented in the future? What's the alternative? What are the advantages and disadvantages of each plan? And why will you take the mitigation plan to be implemented in the future? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Yeah.
it clearly.
Do you get the questions?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, thank you.
First,
Please.
thank you for the question. I'd like to answer the first question. What if the deck is not built? Um, in my paper, we wrote that the dike is the structural mitigation. Meanwhile, we have another non-structural mitigation, such as to increase the capacity index by using some people to educate local peoples to mitigate, and by providing a more responsive team when the flood is occurred, the so the so we can reduce the impact of the flood by using the non-structural mitigation, by improving the locals, by increasing the locals education about flood. And actually we only discuss about the mitigation plan is only structural and non-structural. So if the structural is not planned, is not built, so we have to use the non-structural mitigation plan successfully. And what if is there another mitigation plan if the mitigation you described will fail implemented in the future? Yeah, I guess my previous answer is already answered the next question. What is the alternative? What are the advantage and disadvantage? Okay. If we use structural mitigation, we can physically hold the overflowed water when the rainy season. So it obviously more safe for the people in Cengkareng subdistrict area. But the disadvantage is we must make sure that a lot of stakeholders such as government and local government like RT/RW or something, that we must build the dike. That we must build the dike. I think that's all for my answer.
Okay, that's the answers for Ms. Samara Kolbi Harif. And I think I will go directly to your question 2 from Laila Tusiami Trisakti. I'm interested of the key peak. Is it primary or secondary data? Can you explain detail how to obtain the data?
Okay.
This is interesting on the of the key peak.
Is it primary or secondary data?
Yeah.
It's primary data. Well, how we obtain the data is by using open source document from BMKG, that by using Soekarno-Hatta rain station, that we can extract like from January 2000 until December 2015, and we count it using the frequency analysis and SCF method, so we can distribute it for 6 hours for 100-year period cycle.
Okay, I hope it's satisfied your question, Ms. Laila Tusiami. And I will go to a question for Ms. Chaida. Before the pandemic, people always like to have crowd on their park, communities, but now we should consider the distance between people. Since the transmission comes person to person, in your research, is there any finding that is the most important things to refunction the city park in this pandemic year? It's from Ibu Rahel Sitomorang from Trisakti questions.
Thank you for the question. It is a very challenging but necessary to be asked to someone who has research interest in social science, especially relating to urban parks that welcome people to come to the places. I mean, we need people to be able to socialize, to be able to do their recreational activities in open spaces, not just locked in their homes or in their offices. But the thing is, the question, it is a developing issue now. It is not conclusive yet. It has opened like a Pandora box, really, about the way we design our cities. Before this, public health is least of our concern. We don't really put so much stress on how we can actually safeguard public health while doing our activities outdoor. But the thing is, in Malaysia, after we were allowed to go outside, I mean, when the lockdown was ended, so many people actually went to the parks, and like they were like being released from some kind of confinements. But then the authority was very much worried about it because many have forgotten about social and physical distancing. So it has become a real challenge to balance mental health, physical health, and sociological health. So it will be a great challenge for me for my research to address this issue. And I thank you for asking me that question. I would put that in mind. And of course, I would try to give some kind of insights to facilitate local authorities on how they design or plan the cities post-pandemic later. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will go to your question too, from Ms. Ina Krisantia, Universitas Trisakti. Can you explain why you use the object garden, not park? For Ms. Shaida.
Sorry?
This question for you. Can you explain why you choose the object as garden, not the park? The
Sorry?
object of your park. Why you choose the object of your research is a park, not is a garden, not a park.
Why is it a garden?
Not a park. Yeah.
Actually, when we talk about the definition of park and garden, there is some kind of irregularities or some kind of disagreement. What does it mean by parks or gardens? Sometimes they say it is parks is an overarching concept of gardens and things like that. But specifically, I chose community gardening because of the nature of the activities that can be done in community gardens, which is you have to interact to other people. So, which is why the reason that I try to measure the social attachment is to see, does it work? I mean, does participating in the community gardening, where you have to interact with other people, you have to garden with other people, would affect social attachment or social bonding amongst the community members. Because there's another type of garden, it is called allotment garden. It is also people doing gardening, but they are not really interacting because it means that they just get a parcel of land and they just work on that parcel of land. So they can work next to each other, but they don't have to interact. But community gardening is about community working together, um, sharing same common purpose. So, which is why I chose community gardens as the urban green spaces that I wish to investigate for the context of social attachment. I do hope that answers the question. I'm sorry if
Okay.
it's
Okay, thank you because we have limited time. So our last question is for Mr. Herika.
Yes.
The first one, have you read the question?
Yes.
How to combine some of the physical condition so as to produce a conclusion that the physical condition in this location support the construction of a new capital city. And the second, I think directly to the your analysis is only for the physical aspect, but the conclusion is said that new capital is good for economic development. Please explain. Thank you. Please answer the question.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. In my conclusion, yes, I mentioned there is beside physical aspect, there is economics and social. Yes, because the first main aspect is the physical. If the physical is good, and after that following with social and economic. So social economic is follower by a physical aspect and like supporting aspect. But the three aspects is all of the aspect of urban planning. So if we plan in the spatial in Indonesia like RT/RW or RDTR, the first step we must ensure the physical aspect is good condition, like there is no landslide, there is no tsunami, earthquake, and etc. So the first step is the physical aspect, and after that we can ensure the economic and social. But I mentioned in conclusion is for supporting the physical aspect. Okay, and second question, how I combined the some aspect. Yes, I combine all of the aspect. There is the egg aspect of the physical geography with the spatial analysis technique, and make a description each other. And after that, we focus, or I focus to the purpose of the study to ensure there is no restriction in the new capital city, and the result is there is no restriction like tsunami, earthquake, and etc. Enough. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Due to our limited time, maybe the participant can ask question directly later on. And thank you all the presenter for the first session. And again, we really appreciate your presentations. And now we will move to the second session. We will have Dr. Putih Sri Komala. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
And the second, Miss Prismita Nursetyawati. Miss
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. And Miss Fitri Dawati. Miss Fitri Dawati. Okay, and Mr. William.
Yes.
And the last, Prof. Nada Halifa Al-Rikabi or Dr. Suat Jabir. Hello. Okay, we'll wait because they will be the last presenter, and I will go for the first presenter, Dr. Putri Sri Komala. She's from Universitas Andalas Padang, West Sumatra, and she will present carrying capacity of total phosphate from aquaculture kits in Lake Maninjo. Please have your time.
Thank you. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being invited in this seminar. My name is Putri Sri Komala. Now I'm going to present my research about carrying capacity of total phosphate from aquaculture cage in Lake Maninjau. The research team are myself and Pak Zulkarnaini and Rosalind Indah Kurniati. Oh yeah, I'm from the Department of Environmental Engineering, Faculty of Engineering, Universitas Andalas Padang. The presentation will be divided in 4 parts. First, introduction. Second, research methodology. Third, results and discussion. And finally, the conclusion. The Lake Maninjau has experienced severe contamination due to excessive nutrient load in the lake because of excessive aquaculture cage. From Center of Statistics Agency has been recorded that in 1997 there was 2,854 units of the cage and has increased in 2018 to 17,426 units of the case. Based on local regulation of Agam district has limited the number of the cage only 6,000. However, in recent study, the lake status indicated in the eutrophic hypertrophic states. We know the eutrophication caused by high nutrient content in the water, especially total phosphate or TP content. Therefore, we should determine to TP or limiting TP content into entering to the lake. And we, for this reason, we will determine the carrying capacity of total phosphate into the lake. The purposes of this research, first to determine the TP load from pollutant sources surrounding the lake, and second to determine the Lake Maninjau's trophic status, and then determine to carrying capacity by using a beverage model, and finally we propose the TP control scenarios to limit the TP load entering to the lake. Next, research methodology. The first step, we determine the sampling location in Lake Maninjau based on Indonesian national standard, and the location represent of the middle of the lake, number 1, and outlet of the lake, Batang Antokan, and where the activity take place in number 3, PLTA or hydropower, and number 4, fish catch, and number 10, where domestic wastewater discharge into the lake, and number 5 until 9 is inlet of the river entering the lake. And then we distribute also the questionnaire to activities which contribute the TP load, and then we collect also the secondary data, and we took the water sampling in composite based on the depth and analyze the water quality. And along with this water sampling, we took also fish and feed fish samples. And then we calculate the pollutant load using Ministry of Environment regulation. And then we calculate the trophic states index according to Carson's. And then we determine the TP carrying capacity using Beveridge model and propose the control scenarios of TP based on Ministry of Environment regulation. Next result in discussion. We have the trophic status in Lake Maninjau it has reached the hypertrophic status with TSI index of 72.49, and from the calculation of TP pollutant load, we obtain the primary source of TP load comes from fish catch, namely about 625 million kilogram per year, and followed by settlement. The settlement is divided with settlement or houses with septic tank and without septic tanks. And further, we calculate the TP carrying city from the fish catch with a Beveridge model. From the Beveridge model, we categorized the lake into the mesotrophic, oligotrophic state to achieve, and then we consider also the TP food conversion ratio for the feed fish, and then we calculate also the fish catch waste and fish production and carrying capacity of fish feed, and we use the data from 2018, which there was about 17,426 number of the catch. From this condition, mesotrophic and oligotrophic states, we conclude that the catch should be reduced until 69% in mesotrophic condition. And in oligotrophic, to achieve, we should reduce the number of the catch until 89%. From the result, we can conclude that the TP load in Lake Maninjau has exceeded the carrying capacity, and it caused the hypertrophic states. And we propose to apply the TP control scenarios to mesotrophic and oligotrophic, that the catch should be reduced until 89%. Besides that, the local government of Agam district should regulate the fish feeding and apply low phosphorus feeds. That's all my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Putri Sri Komala, for your presentation. We will have discussion later on after all speakers are done with the presentation. And we will have the second presenter, Ms. Prismita Nursatyawati. She is from Universitas Bakri, Indonesia. She will present the occurrence of microplastic in Satamot catfish in Jakarta freshwater system, case study Krukut River. Okay, please have your time, Ms. Prismita.
Okay. Wait. Good morning, sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Prismita Nursatyawati. I am from Department of Environmental Engineering, Bakri University, Jakarta, Indonesia. In this opportunity, on behalf of my team, I would like to present our research, the occurrence of microplastic in Sakramat armor catfish in Krukut River, Jakarta, Indonesia. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah, this is the outline of my presentation. Next, please. Yeah. The problem of plastic litter in the marine system, before that. Before this slide, please. Sorry. Okay. The problem of plastic litter in marine system has become a global concern, especially in the last decade. The solid waste management in Indonesia is still poor, that the potential of sea and freshwater pollution due to plastic litter becomes greatly concerning. Plastic litter will be in the environment for a long time until it finally degraded as microplastic, except for pellet. Due to its small size, microplastic has the potential to enter the aquatic organism, especially fish, through food and habitat. Next, please. Ciliwung watershed is one of the strategic watersheds in Indonesia. Part of Ciliwung watershed is the Krukut River. Krukut River is one of the Jakarta source of drinking water. Cilandak treatment plant relies on Krukut River as the main source of fresh water. Sacramate armored catfish or P. pardalis is a fish that is commonly found in Ciliwung watershed. Heavy metals such as lead and cadmium as well as polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon were detected in catfish. Despite acting as a bioindicator, residents in Ciliwung watershed, including Krukut River, consume sacramate armored catfish. Research on microplastic in Indonesia are mostly in the marine system. Microplastic research in Indonesian freshwater are still very limited, especially microplastic in fish. Sembiring in 2020 recently found the occurrence of microplastic in Citarum watershed, the watershed near Jakarta. Next, please. In order to give a proper fundamental illustration of the occurrence of microplastic in the river organism, P. pardalis, in water resource of the capital of Indonesia, 3 purposes will be studied. Next, please. Krukut River was divided into 3 segments, upstream in Jagakarsa, midstream in Kemang, and downstream in Setiabudi. Cilandak water treatment plant is located between the upstream and the midstream areas. Each segment was divided into 3 sampling points. At each sampling point, 2 sacramate armored catfish were taken. Fish sampling method was grab sampling, and the fish samples were taken to the biology laboratory, Research and Development Center for Quality and Environmental Laboratory Serpong for laboratory analysis. Next, please. Height and weight of fish were used to determine the growth rate of sacramate armored catfish with the linear allometric model and Fulton condition factor. These 2 factors were widely used in previous research to determine fish growth and well-being. Microplastic analysis was carried out in the digestive tract. All data were analyzed for normal distribution using Shapiro test, before correlation analysis using Kruskal-Willis and Pearson test, then followed by Sudanti test. Spatial analysis was performed with RGIS 10.1. Next, please. From the graphic, the microplastic content in sacramate armored catfish increased from the upstream to downstream. Next, please. In each segment of Krukut River, fiber was the most microplastic type found in sacramate armored catfish, followed by pellets, fragments, and film. Next, please. Compared with previous research on ingesting microplastic by river fish on this table, microplastic were also found in 100% of the fish tested. Microplastic in this study were twice the microplastic in the freshwater fish in Fengshan River, China. Fiber was also the dominant microplastic type found in fish bodies in all studies. However, in the study, pellet was also commonly found. Park found the occurrence of microplastic in fish is closely related to the occurrence of microplastic in the water column where the fish live. So let's find out. Next, please. From the table, microplastic in water and sediment increased with the increasing microplastic in sacramate armored catfish towards the downstream. It also shows that there are important things to note. The increase in microplastic in water and sediment were not as great as the increase in microplastic that ingested by sacramate armored catfish. This indicates that organisms that live in water have great possibility to accumulate microplastic in sediments into their bodies and enter the food chain. Next, please. The composition of fragments and film in water and sediments was greater than its composition in sacramate armored catfish. Most likely, the Sacramento armored catfish in Crocodile River mistook pellets and fiber as food due to its smaller size. Fragments and filament that have higher density were not consumed and end up accumulating in water and sediments. Next, please. From this table, it can be seen that the occurrence of microplastic in water and sediment has a positive correlation on microplastic in Sacramento armored catfish. Next, please. Okay, downstream, more microplastic were found in Sacramento armored catfish. Microplastic are more often found in downstream because of influence of denser population, activities, and land use towards the downstream. The main composition of microplastic in all three river segments consists of fiber and pellets. Fiber mostly comes from clothes and plastic packaging, whereas pellets are derived from microbeads of personal care products and cosmetic. In Indonesia, grey water from home commonly discharged into the drainage channel and polluting water bodies. In upstream and midstream, land use is dominated by residential area. The number of fiber and pellet microplastic in Sacramento armored catfish showed that microplastic that discharge into the environment from washing clothes or fabric that contain fiber and from the use of personal care product that contain pellet are concerning. Next, please. From the statistical analysis, it shows that river segment as well as dominant land use in each segment have a correlation and significant effect on the microplastic in Sacramento armored catfish. Next, please. In downstream, Sacramento armored catfish were getting smaller and lighter in weight. The growth of fish indicated by allometric growth values in the upstream and midstream were negative or below 3, and decreases in value from the upstream to the midstream. However, in downstream, fish development was improving, indicated by a value of B above 3. The value of Filton K increases from upstream to downstream. Typically, the K value decreases due to environmental conditions, which have deteriorated due to downstream industrial or agricultural activities. Next, please. The occurrence of microplastic in Sacramento armored catfish is positively correlated and significant with the Fulton condition factor. Next, please.
Okay.
There are 4 highlights in this study. The first one is the occurrence of microplastic in Sacramento armored catfish in Crocodile River was far higher than other similar study in freshwater system. Cilandak Water Treatment Plant that realized its water source from Crocodile River should evaluate the effectivity of the units in eliminating microplastic and the quality of its treated water. The second, quite high pellet composition indicate the urgent need to ban microbeads the source of pellet. Further observation about source, fate, and transport microplastic in Crocodile River is highly recommended. The third one, occurrence of microplastic in water and sediment, as well as dominant urban land use near the Crocodile River were correlated with the microplastic ingested by Sacramento armored catfish. Those findings suggest better wastewater and solid waste management along Crocodile River and Ciliwung watershed. Okay, lastly, the microplastic ingested by Sacramento armored catfish in Crocodile River did not affect negatively on Sacramento armored catfish physical growth and well-being. However, the possibility of microplastic exposure to human through food chain should become consideration and need to be explored. Next, please. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Prismita. I will go directly to the third speaker, Ms. Fitri Dawati Suhardi from Universitas Lancang Kuning, Riau, Indonesia. Her title of presentation, Laboratory Analysis for Water Absorption of Sandy Soil from 3 different quarries. Please have your time.
Okay. Okay.
Are you going to share by yourself?
Share. I'm share.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Assalamualaikum. Where my presentation? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is sorry, my video is not found.
Organizer, the team, can you please help? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good afternoon. My name is Fitri Dawati Suhardi. I'm from Civil Engineering, Lancang Kuning University in Pekanbaru, Riau Province. The title of presentation is the laboratory analysis for water absorption of sandy soil from 3 different quarry. Okay, outline is introduction, research methodology, research and discussion, and conclusion. My introduction and increase in the use of sand soil in Riau experience a significant increase. The land has a very important as media foundation. The burden of the building risk of the final load chain. Has also used as construction material from the building itself, such as discussed and highway. The soil condition is in place are very different because the soil is naturally a complex and highly variable material. If a land content in the field is very loose or very soft, so it's not suitable from development, then the land should be stabilized. Relationship between water content, pore number, porosity, volume weight, specificity, gravity, radiation, and all are needed in the planar. Investigation of the technical characteristic of land is an absolute step that must be carried on in a civil building planning project, especially or like large-scale project to obtain safe and economical design result is necessary to investigate the data that is true and cover all aspects. Purpose in research this study aim to determine the potential of sand in Pekanbaru, which can be used as a construction material. Research methodology. In the study began in determining the location of sample-based data from area that are used a quarry tanking sand soil, namely in Pandau, Garuda Sakti, Pandau, and Tratapulu. Location survey include determinant in observation point, taking pictures, sampling, and carrying out net for laboratory testing. Sampling was carried out in 3 research using in sand sorbate and inserted into a plastic sack. Research methodology. Testing sand sample using in the filter analysis test that refer to speed, specific gravity, SNE 03, 100, 965, 64, 900, 90. Testing the water content SNE 03, 1995, 1990, and testing filter analysis SNE 03, 168, and 990. Based on the data obtained, that analyzes the comparison of the values of specific gravity, water content, and gradation of sand aggregate at the 3 quarry locations so that conclusion can be obtained. Result. Specific gravity value from scale can be seen in picture 1, and the value is not very too significant. And absorption based on the test result obtained in the water content from the 3 quarry, namely the specific gravity on the Garuda Sakti 1 sample is and Garuda Sakti 2, Garuda Sakti 3, and Pandau 1, Pandau 2, and Pandau 3, and Tratapulu 1, Tratapulu 2, and the result that the quarry Pandau sample has a high water content, so it's not got to be used and construction material, it is necessary to work the soil to get optimal. Next. Based on the data obtained, the paraquary sample is good gradation sand soil, while the Garuda Sakti quarry sample and other red Trata Bulu graded soil. Gradation of good Pandau sample causes difficulty in the sand soil to pass water, so that the conclusion based the result of Next. Conclusion based on the result of testing is the laboratory of the three quarries, namely Garuda Sakti, Pandau, and Traktak Bulu. The result obtained are Baparo quarry sample with a good gradation of sand, while the Garuda Sakti quarry sample and other red Traktak Bulu poorly graded soil. Gradation of good Pandau sample cause difficulty in the sand soil to pass water, so then the water content is quite high compared to sample for Garuda Sakti and Tata Bulu quarries. Thank you. This is my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Terima kasih. Thank you very much, Ms. Fitri Dawati Suhadi. I will go to the next presenter, Mr. William Christian Solihin.
Yeah.
Are you there? Okay. Yeah. And he's from Trisakti University, and he will present selection of flocculation type unit in the design of Sumamusi water treatment plant, Bekasi City. Please have your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hernani, for this great opportunity. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Christian Solihin. I am from the Environmental Engineering Department, Universitas Trisakti. Today, we would like to present to you about our research paper. My team consists of myself, Riana Ayu Kusumadewi, and Winarni. The title of our paper is Selection of Flocculation Type Unit in the Design of Sumamusi Water Treatment Plant, Bekasi City. The outline of the presentation will be outlined as follows. First, introduction, purpose, research methods, results and discussion, and conclusion. Introduction. As we all know, Bekasi City is a growing city, and the continuous growth of population in Bekasi City is directly proportional to its water needs. As a vital aspect of life, safe and clean water is essential to ensure a sustainable life and sustainable living. To safeguard the water sustainability, two water treatment plants with a design capacity of 270 liters per second each is to be constructed to meet the stage 1 of the 2022 water demand projection. The treatment plant will be located in Bekasi Utara Subdistrict, Bekasi City, using surface water from SS Bekasi Bangkal. The data obtained from Bada Ayam Tirta Patriot has shown that the raw water had an average turbidity of 119.8 NTU in 2019. Therefore, a conventional water treatment plant is needed. Here, we will focus on flocculation. Mainly, there are two types of flocculators used in water treatment: hydraulic flocculator and mechanical flocculator. In this study, a vertical baffle channel flocculator or horizontal shaft paddle flocculator is selected for use in Sumamusi water treatment plant. The purpose of this research is to select the most suitable flocculation type unit for Sumamusi water treatment plant based on economic suitability and technical benefits. The research is divided into 3 steps. First is data collection from preliminary survey and literature study. Second is the flocculator design. And lastly, the selection of flocculation unit. Results and discussion. The first, the annual investment cost. The figure on the left shows that investment in a panel system contributed to the majority of investment costs. for horizontal paddle shaft fluctuator. And the basin contributed by about 35%. On the figure on the right, for the vertical baffle channel fluctuator, most investment cost comes from basin investment. It contributed by about 58% of the total annual investment cost. Sluice gates contributed by about 16% of the total. So in investment costs for intake pumps shows the same value for both systems because the pumps will have the same specifications. Next is the maintenance cost, operating cost. Nearly 100% operating expense comes from electricity needed to operate intake pumps. Pumping becomes a significant factor due to the difference principle in mechanical and hydraulic fluctuation. Mechanical fluctuation utilizes mechanical equipment that requires energy, but theoretically, the calculation in this study concluded that it will not contribute significantly to operating costs. Vertical baffle fluctuators, however, require water to be pumped higher to produce adequate head loss to carry out fluctuation by hydraulic means. The head loss requires higher head for pumps, thus resulting in more power required in pumping. For the annual maintenance costs, the figure shows that horizontal shaft paddle fluctuator requires more maintenance expense than a vertical baffle fluctuator. System maintenance for the paddle system itself contributed more than half by about 55% of the total annual cost for horizontal shaft paddle fluctuator. The vertical baffle fluctuator also requires routine maintenance for the moving of sluice gates. This slide represents the economics comparison summary for both fluctuator. As it is shown that horizontal shaft paddle fluctuator annual cost is higher in terms of investment and maintenance costs. On the contrary, the vertical baffle fluctuator requires higher operating costs, and in general, the horizontal paddle fluctuator costs by about 50 million rupiah higher in annual total cost compared to the vertical baffle fluctuator. Here, the main advantage of a hydraulic fluctuator such as vertical baffle fluctuator it is that it is simple and requires less maintenance in its operation. Its main disadvantage, however, is that it has less flexibility, limited G and GT value, which is also a function of flow rate, and therefore cannot be easily adjusted. Mechanical fluctuators, such as horizontal paddle fluctuators, offers high flexibility, adjustable agitation, and also independent of flow rate. Another technical benefit from this fluctuator is that it allows the plant or the treatment plant to operate at higher capacity, and it also has the capability of operating at lower cost. Through this study, it can be concluded that from an economical point of view, the vertical baffle fluctuator is proven to be more economical in annual cost. The horizontal shaft paddle fluctuator would require an additional 6.8% of the total annual costs of a vertical baffle channel fluctuator. However, the horizontal shaft paddle fluctuator will provide numerous benefits that can be utilized efficiently. The main advantage of the mechanical fluctuator has shown that it is the best choice of fluctuation type, as it may be operated at 40% more production capacity than its original design. Additionally, an upgrade of the basin may further allow more water production with significant lower cost than constructing another water treatment plant. Therefore, here, the horizontal shaft paddle fluctuator is selected for use in Sumamusi water treatment plant. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. William Christian Solihin, for your good presentation. I will go to the last speaker here, Dr. Suat Jabil Lafta from Center of Urban and Regional Planning. Are you here? Hello, Dr. Suat? Dr. Suat, are you here? Okay, I will skip for this time. Maybe we'll go to the next session for Prof. Nada, Khalifa Al-Rikabi, or Dr. Suat Jabilafa. And I will start with the question and answers. The organizer, can you show the question? There are some questions actually. First for Dr. Putih Sri Komala. First, about the alga bloom in Maninjau for last 10 years, how severe, and how about what kind of fish feeding regulation that you mentioned in conclusion, and is it the feeding time or the quality and quantity of the fish food? Is it if it become regulation, can it be applied in all areas in Indonesia? And I think there is one is from Dr. Professor Karim Hasan Alwan. The tested sample, is it presented all the society statistically? This Dr. Putih, can you answer shortly?
Yes, can you show me the first question? Yeah. Where there even of alga bloom in Maninjau for the last years? Yes, there's about 3 or 4 years there was alga bloom and then fish death. And in 10 years and in last 10 years the trophic status of the lakes is hypertrophic. So it showed that many fish death in the lakes. So maybe it's number 1, yeah. And number 2, what kind of fish feeding regulation that you mentioned in the conclusion is the? Oh yeah, this now the fishermen, if the fish feed 2 times in a day, but they use the sinking food for the fish have the characteristic is able to settle in the bottom of the lake. So it results in TP settled in the lake and TP excessive in the lake. So the regulation should be applied that the fishermen apply the floating food. Floating food is better than sinking food. Sinking food make floating food more cheaper than more expensive than sinking food. So, and if it becomes regulation, if it becomes regulation, can it be applied in all area in Indonesia? Yeah, regulation for fish feeding can be applied in Indonesia, but the carrying capacity of each lake is different because the size is different. The size of the lake is different in Indonesia. And then, from Karim Hasan Awan. If the tested sample is presented or the society statistically, I take the sample 3 times in 2 weeks interval. So in its sample, we analyze in 3 probe. Maybe it's all, maybe.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Putih Sri Komala. And the next question for your answers. And the next question addressed to Miss Prismita. Miss Prismita, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
You read the answer. You answer directly the question. Can you answer directly?
Yes. In my opinion, it's because the Sarcomorph armored catfish is an omnivore fish, and omnivore fish from previous studies contain more microplastic than the carnivore fish, and then it's, in my opinion, it's due to the for wastewater and solid waste management along the watershed. So in my explanation, I said that gray water that contain pellet directly discharge to drainage system and then go to the water bodies. Maybe in other countries, the drainage system the drainage system will not contain the gray water from home. And then, what is my recommendation to solve the possibility of microplastic exposure to human? It's simple. Please do not eat sacrament armor catfish or ikan sapu-sapu, because ikan sapu-sapu or sacrament armor catfish is turned into a variety of food snacks such as somai or something. Please don't eat that. And then government should ban microbeads, because a lot of countries like UK, US, and Canada already ban it. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Prismita. The next question for Ms. Fitrida.
Okay.
Can you answer the question?
Yes. Okay. The one. If the absorption of water is the same ground continuous, of course, it's very influential, especially on the foundation and road, because it's with collapse. And second, we need to be further handly. For example, is the road contraction. There need to be improvement in the sand soil, and this is the research that I'm going. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. And the last question for Mr. Christian William.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank you to Miss Rosianti Citra. Yes, I conclude that the horizontal shaft paddle is indeed the most suitable type flotation unit. And it is true that, based on my calculation, that it requires higher total cost in annually than the vertical baffle calculator. But if we look into the technical benefits, such as it offers a lot of flexibility, and also it has the capability of to value, this could provide a lower cost in the long run, in terms of rather than we build another treatment plant with the same capacity. I think that's my answer. I hope it will fit to your question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. William. So I would like to thank to all presenters, Dr. Putih Sri Komala, Ms. Prismita Nursatyawati, Ms. Fitridawati Suhardi, and Mr. William Christian Solihin. And let us give applause to all the presenters. Thank you. And I will go to the next session, the last session of this class presentation. The third session will be the about reuse, recycle waste, and community. We will have four presenters. First, Mr. Alfian Saleh, are you here? Mr. Alfian?
Sorry.
Are you ready? Oh, okay. And the second, Dr. Yuce Sariningsi. Ibu Yuce.
Yes, I'm here.
Ibu Yuce here? Okay. And the third speaker, Miss Nina Fapari Arif.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, thank you. And the fourth, Mr. Yosef Manik.
Hello, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will go for the first speaker first, Mr. Alfian Saleh. He is from Sekolah Tinggi Teknologi Pekanbaru Riau, Indonesia, and he will present the addition of waste cooking oil on the asphalt concrete wearing coarse pavement layer observed from the pore value of the mixture. Please have your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are you going to share the screen by yourself, right?
Wait. Wait. Sorry. Don't miss.
Your presentation is already on the screen.
Sorry.
Can you read?
Yeah. Okay. Wait.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, audience. My name is Alfian Saleh. I'm from Civil Engineering Department, Sekolah Tinggi Teknologi Pekanbaru. We would like to about research. The title of my presentation is the effect of adding was cooking oil to the poor value of pavement.
I cannot hear your voice.
Okay, the outline of presentation are introduction, research methodology, result and discussion, and conclusion. There are some reasons why this study should be conducted. The material of asphalt cannot be renewable. It is necessary to use one method in recycling this asphalt. In this responding this phenomenon, we utilize was cooking oil as stated by the International Council on Clean Transportation Research. Indonesia has produced a lot of was cooking oil. It reaches 157 million liters per year. It will pollute pavement if it is not reused. The pavement composed the three materials: coarse aggregate, fine aggregate, and asphalt. The indicator to see the pavement can be used consists of several indicators: density, void mineral aggregate, void in the mixture, void filled with asphalt, stability, flow, and mass fluctuation. In this case, I observed the value of void in the mixture content to adding was cooking oil on pavement. So the purpose of the research are to examine the adding was cooking oil on asphalt concrete wearing coarse mixture and asphalt penetration 60/70, and to determine the pore value of the mixture with addition was cooking. Research methodology. In the collecting the data, we use experimental causal in a laboratory. The procedure of the research are following Indonesian standard national. The first was decide the planning mixture, testing by following the standardized and conducting the analysis by comparing the data with the standardized specification to get optimum bitumen content, and use was cooking oil from percentage: 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, and 5% of the optimum asphalt content. And then analyze of the research was given and recommendation was also given on the usage of fast cooking oil as additive observed for value of the mixture. The study was conducted through laboratory testing, refers to the test of specific weight and absorption of rock aggregate water, and test of smooth aggregate type, and water absorption using test muscle to get a value in the mixed value. The result void in the mineral pavement from muscle testing on any wash cooking oil can be seen on the figure. In the figure, it can be seen for value that increasing of the additive wasted cooking oils. The conclusion is my research. First, the addition of wash cooking oil resulted increase the value of core value pavement due to increased asphalt viscosity, 4.61%, 4.64%, 5.22%, 12.10%, 12.47%. The optimum value addition is 3%. Third, this indicates the higher the pore value obtained so that the mixture is less impervious to water and earth, so that the mixture will be more easily absorbed by water and oxidized. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Alfian, for your presentation. So I will go to the next speaker, Dr. Yuce Sariningsi. Dr. Yuce? Dr. Yuce? Okay. Maybe we'll skip first and we'll go to Miss Nina Fapari Arif.
Yes, I'm here.
This is from Universitas Fajar Makassar, South Sulawesi, Indonesia. She will present encourage small business environmental sustainability performance by market orientation and environmental innovation. So please have your time. Are you going? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nina Fapari Arif from Department of Management, Faculty of Economy and Social Science, Universitas Fajar Makassar. My paper, the title is Encourage Small Business Environmental Sustainability Performance by Market Orientation and Environmental Innovation. My team are Yasir Hakas, Mujahid, Nina Fapari Arif, Samsul Riyadi, and Abdul Samad Arif. The outline of paper is introduction, research methodology, result and discussion, and conclusion. Introduction. Environmental sustainable performance as the organization can protect and preserve the environment, reduce energy consumption, and perform at low cost operation. Organizations with environmental fame are viewed as an essential element when entities such as a supplier and non-profit organization must select an organization for inviting green partnership. Environmental responsibility makes positive association in the individual's minds and change good customer reaction of the product quality and rates reasonable the company and its brands. Environmental sustainability performance can be used as a basis for measuring organization performance, not only in large company but equally crucial for a small business. It is equally necessary for a large company. In a general context, the relationship between organizational performance with market orientation and innovation remains persistent across various industries. However, there are gaps in research about market orientation effect on innovation. Therefore, further study is required to validate its impact. In overcoming this limited, we integrate the construct with environmental elements. These are market orientation components. Purpose for this paper examine whether simultaneous market orientation and environmental innovation may drive organization. And the second, environmental sustainability performance with environmental innovation as a mediation. Research methodology. This study used a survey of 300 small companies with 5 until 19 employees at random for all types of industry registered with a local government in Makassar, Indonesia. Before a formal survey, we do a preliminary survey by phone to ensure organization that unanimous in taking part in the survey. Finally, we have 202 organizations that can be used with a response rate of 67.3%. All constructs were measured using the Likert scale to test hypothesis. Items were translated into Indonesia first and then translated into English. All difference in items are reconciled and then pretest. Market orientation measurement consists of 3 components with 12 question items. Environmental innovation with 4 question items and tailored to small business activity, and environmental sustainability performance with 4 question items. Result and discussion. The study result through the structural equation modeling allowed an evaluation of the effect of the implementation of market orientation component to environmental innovation and their impact on environmental on sustainability performance on small business, which was the central objective of this study. However, only interfunctional coordination is a significant element in market orientation relates to environmental sustainability performance, while customer orientation and competitor orientation insignificant or only improve environmental innovation. Therefore, this study gave a better comprehensive of Indonesian small business. The contribution of the components of the market orientation in small business in Indonesia in this study result in surprising result because some support and do not support it. Previous study showed that customer orientation and competitor orientation were crucial factor in driving the company environmental sustainability performance, but this research showed insignificant result. The development of customer and competitor orientation in Indonesia small business related to environmental sustainability performance is not a priority. Therefore, the study adds to our view about how the characteristic of small business in Indonesia. However, in the Indonesian context, customer and competitor orientation contribute to environmental sustainability performance, but only if mediated by environmental innovation. Organization opens to new idea, especially in minimizing its impact on environmental damage. The innovation can be in the form of energy consumption and material context.
Itu dia baca semua. PPT aku nggak gitu. Kayak gini kan udah. Tapi kok orang ada yang ini ya, rambutnya tuh bisa ke depan. Apa? Coba. Aneh banget. Iya, aku jadi aneh ya. Kayak kalau lihat di video, caranya kayak gitu sih. Oh, orang pada bagus ya, kan?
Sorry. Miss Afrida. Miss Nina. Hello, Miss Nina. Miss Nina.
Hello, yes.
Are you done or please, organizer?
The last slide.
Last slide, please.
Yes. Conclusion. We call that our study provides research with an understanding of market orientation, importance to and change environmental innovation in determining the level of business performance to achieve environmental sustainability performance for small business. Okay, thank you for attention for my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Miss Nina Fapari Arif, and for your presentation. And we'll go to the next speaker, Dr. Yuche Sariningsi. Are you here now? Dr. Yuche?
Yes, I'm here now.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Yuche Sariningsi is from Universitas Pasundan, West Java, Indonesia. Title paper about West Bank as business development solution in e-warung Kube PKH. Okay, please have your time.
Can you see my slide?
Not yet. But I can see your face clearly.
Yeah.
Maybe other presenters already presented. Can see the question in the chat room, so you will prepare your answers very soon.
Moment, please. Moment, please.
Not yet.
Yeah.
But you already started the screen sharing. Okay, we'll see the.
That's helping for the computer to display my slide. Okay. Yeah. Can you see my slide now?
Yeah, you can, but it's still not your present. Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, we'll see your presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Satu University as organizer and Ms. Hanani as moderator, which has been invited me in the 5th International Seminar on Sustainable Urban Development. My name is Yuche Sariningsi. I'm a lecturer at Social Work Department, Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Universitas Pasundan Bandung, West Java, Indonesia. In this occasion, I will present my paper entitled West Bank as a Business Development Solution in Era Kube PKH. This paper related to the topic of environmental technology and subtopic is urban community empowerment. And it is written together with our research team, Ms. Janti Purwanti and Ms. Evi Dinihayati. In this valuable occasion, allow me to deliver our sincere thanks to Ministry of Higher Education, which has funded our research in the period of 2018 and 2019. This research was conducted before COVID-19 pandemic. The outline of the research. The outline of the research is first introductions, research methodology, research and discussion, and conclusion. So for the introductions, e-warung Kube PKH is a small business group which is managed by beneficiaries of program Keluarga Harapan, known as a family help program, who has graduated from basic line of poverty. Next, I will use the term e-warung of the subject mentioned above in this presentation. It consists of 10 members and are equipped by facilities as follows: First, electronic data capture, rehabilitation of small store, display rack, and freezers. The goal of EWARUM are to help their members to get income generating and serve the beneficiaries to fulfill basic needs. Based on this concept, EWARUM business may grow up. This is a EWARUM profile like this at the right side. Mainly, EWARUM serve beneficiaries who has received non-cash food assistance of either 110,000 per month, at least 110,000 per month, which can be stored on the Visa card. Visa means basic saving account, then be exchanged for basic food stuff, like rice for 7 kilograms and eggs 2 kilograms. However, EWARUM may develop business by selling other basic commodities like flour, cooking oil, soybean, corn, etc. to beneficiaries and the people around them. This EWARUM program is sponsored by Ministry of Social Affairs and also supported by Ministry of Finance by forming Himpunan Bank Negara or state bank associations. There are BNA 46, Mandiri Bank, and Bank of Republic Indonesia, which is published basic saving account card. Type of business of EWARUM are first retail business, sell various types of staples to the beneficiaries using Visa card and the people as consumers who live around them. However, Visa card usage is not optimal yet and are only used in exchange of food assistance. They do not have money that settled in the account balance. The second, e-commerce. EWARUM can use electronic data capture for mobile phone credit or water sales, electricity tokens and bills, water supply payment, and public health insurance. This e-commerce is not running optimally yet also. So the third, good West Bank as a solution of EWARUM, with a slow business development, with the business target and beneficiaries of non-cash food and consumer around the locations. The purpose of the study first to describe and analyze the retail business activities of EWARUM. The second to describe and analyze the implementation of e-commerce as business development using Kartu Visa. And the last is to describe and analyze West Bank as a business solutions. Research methodology. On the right side is the EWARUM image, and the research methodology use a qualitative approach. The subject are 20 informants and representative of the social service agency from the city of Bekasi, Bandung, Banjar, and Tasikmalaya. The third, social workers. The data collection using a focus group discussion and the data analysis technique using category, coding, and comparative data. Results and discussions. EWARUM cannot operate retail business and business activities of the distribute non-cash food aid distribution to the beneficiaries as routine activities in every month, and they didn't sell other commodities to beneficiaries and consumers around their life. As a result, mostly EWARUM closed. Second, income generated for EWARUM cannot be achieved, and also basic need for beneficiaries cannot be fulfilled yet. So, result related to e-commerce by using ADC, which is very potential for EWARUM business, show that EWARUM is not running optimally yet, and ADC usage is not fully optimal because lack of knowledge how important EDC for business and low frequency in using it. The concept of group business is very good. However, low performance of EWARUM cannot be analysis of EWARUM can be analysis of EWARUM caused by first the weakness of entrepreneurial spirit, then and the second low managerial ability. Why West Bank as the third result? The result of focus group discussions mention several points. First, everyone can utilize the store to store garbage like paper, plastic, bottle, bins, derrigan, bucket, and cans. And also utilization of EDC. The third target, community around the location, and this business can be strengthen the partnership with other parties and to support retail activities and e-commerce. So the conclusions, for the first, retail business, selling non-food ingredients is not going well. Most of the activities of Ewarung only distribute of non-cash food aid and inform aid and rice every month. For the second, the implementation of e-commerce as business development Kartu-Desa does not optimally work yet. And also, FGD research show that waste bank as a business solutions is supported by informants for utilizing the stock to store garbage in form of paper, plastics, bottle bins, gallon, derrigan, bucket, cans, and utilization of EDC or electronic data captures. Consumer target is community around Ewarung location and will strengthen partnership with other parties and also support Ewarung in routine activities and develop e-commerce. This is the end of presentations. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Ibu Yuce, for your presentation. I will go to the next speaker, Mr. Yosef Manik from Del Sito Lama, North Sumatra, Indonesia. His title of presentation, Analysis of Stakeholder Attitudes Towards Sustainable Tourism Development of Lake Toba Area. Please have your time, Mr. Yosef.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Joseph Manik, so I'm the last presenter. That's good because after I did my presentation, then every one of us will be done with this activity today. So today I'm going to present our research titled Analysis of Stakeholders' Attitude Towards Sustainable Tourism Development of Lake Toba Area. So my name is Joseph Manik, and we're doing this with my partner of research, Ausaria Nababan. Well, this is the outline of my presentation today. It's not very important, so let's skip to the next slide. So Lake Toba, I think most of us know about the Lake Toba. So it's been there for a couple of centuries, even millenniums. And then the thing is that in line with the growing importance of the tourism sector in the global and national arena, the Indonesian government has designated and taken various strategic steps to revitalize the role of tourism industry in national economy. One of the strategic steps that have been taken is to establish 10 national strategic tourism area, in which Lake Toba is one of them. The inclusion of Lake Toba as one of the priority destinations for the development of national tourism is certainly a challenge, in particular for the local government and for key stakeholders involved in the management of Lake Toba. On the other hand, the developing tourism destination, in developing it, it's necessary to consider a concept of sustainable tourism. Well, now sustainable tourism is an integrated development with the development, utilization, and maintenance of good resources. Well, according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization, UNWTO, there are 12 indicators of principle that needs to be applied in achieving sustainable tourism, namely economic viability, local prosperity, employment quality, social equity, visitor fulfillment, and so on, and can be categorized into two major systems, namely human system and ecosystem. Linked to the principle of sustainable tourism, the design and development of tourism attractions, it's very important. And then the involvement of the stakeholders is another important thing to be considered. So that's why we do this. We are doing this research to analyze the attitude of stakeholders towards sustainable tourism development of tourism industry in Lake Toba. The methodology. The methodology of this study consists of several steps. The steps are defining the goals and the scope, identify the research design, take the indicators from UNWTO, and then we design some questionnaire assessing of stakeholders' importance and trust of each of the indicators using the 5-point Likert scale. So, and then we did some data collection, and again, this data collection have been done in the past 4 to 6 years back. 6 months back. So it means that this data collection took place before COVID-19 outbreak. And then we did some data analysis to get the result, and we analyzed the result and discuss it with the current context of Lake Toba development. So we have more than 300 participants, which are the stakeholders. And then here are some of the results. You can see in this table, there are 12 indicators. And then we have the average trust of the stakeholders on each of the variables. And it seems to us like the value is somewhere between 3 and 4 in 5 Likert scale. So the attitude of stakeholders in general can be seen in this graph. So based on this result, the multiplication of the average trust belief of the tourism development in Lake Toba, we can see that we can classify the stakeholders' attitudes into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 categories, from very optimistic to very pessimistic. So as we can see in this graph, we have dots representing people's opinion, people's attitude, and we can see most of the dots fall under the category of optimistic and very optimistic, which ranges between 15 to 25 scale. And here are these the attributes of the stakeholders. Who are they? They are balanced between genders, women and men, and the ages are mostly between 17 to 25, but also some other age range. But most of them are tourists, and some of them live in Lake Toba. Some of them live outside the Lake Toba area, even out of the country. So okay, so this is the result. If we can present it in terms of vectors, we have x-axis as human system and ecosystem as y-axis, and we can see that most of the data that we got are showing the optimistic attitude of the stakeholders. Yeah, general magnitude of this is 5.78, and degree of optimism is 41 degree. That means it's almost balanced between optimistic to human system and ecosystem. So yeah. And then to find out the equation model and the degree of stakeholders based on their trust and importance in the previous data processing, it can be used to map in the factor coordinates. And then further analysis has also been conducted in order to determine significant factors that affect stakeholders' attitude towards sustainability of Lake Toba area. So we developed multivariate models that we built in order to test by means of multiple linear regressions. And it turns out that there are several factors that affect the stakeholders' attitude. In this equation, in this table, we can see some variables that are significant. For instance, X2, which is age, and then X4 is income, and X5 marital status and everything. So we have all of this, and then we can map what are the significant factors that affect the attitudes of the stakeholders. Well, as a concluding words, it can be inferred from this study that while the attitudes for all the stakeholders in Lake Toba tourism is optimistic in general, the level of optimism among these stakeholders varies through their engagement and involvement in tourism industry. This fact should be seen as an opportunity for the governing bodies. In this case, is the Ministry of Tourism, coordinating Ministry of Maritime and Investment, and local government, to involve the stakeholders more into the policy by empowering local in supporting the government tourism program in Lake Toba area. So with this, I would say thank you to all of you. Thank you for listening and see you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph Manik, for your presentation. So before we go to discussion, I will ask for one speaker, Prof. Nada Halifa Al-Rikabi or Dr. Suad Jabir Lafta. Are you here? Dr. Suad? Dr. Suad Jabir? Or Professor Nada Halifa Al-Rikabi from Baghdad University? Okay, if they are not here, I will go to the discussion. I think already some question in the chat room. So first for Mr. Alfian. Would you like to answer your question for you directly? Please unmute your speaker, Mr. Alfian. Please unmute. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, please answer the question for you. I think
Okay,
the three
thank you
questions you
for
can answer shortly directly.
okay. Thank you for question, Miss Lucy. Why I use was cooking out object here is that we know Indonesian people consume was cooking oil more consume was cooking oil because was cooking oil not function to was to use. I think this was cooking oil is not function in household. And then from the ICCT research, Indonesia produced 1.7 billion juta liter per year. This is my opinion. Next, so is the addition of cooking oil mixture considered effective? Adding wasting cooking oil on the asphalt mixture considered effective, not development in this resistant oil situation, because in Indonesia, maybe in Indonesia optimum, because optimum adding was cooking oil and 3%. In Indonesia, mix resistant in all situation condition, and advantage in was cooking oil can be reused and recycled and reduced into environment in the world. To use cooking, I'm not special treatment. I'm use was cooking oil from household in my research. Okay, maybe that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Alfian Saleh. We'll go to the next question, please. The next slide. Oh, there is
criteria.
Yeah.
I'm not any criteria what the cooking oil used in my research. I'm used was cooking oil from household, not special treatment.
Okay, thank you. So for the next question for, it's still the same question for, oh yeah.
In
Another
the
one.
bacteria, maybe this my research, I'm observed not bacteria. Maybe that's future research. I'm to observe microorganism and such microorganism bacteria observe because to because I think to asphalt pavement can be not maybe maybe next research I'm to observe the microorganism such as bacteria. In this research I'm not observe microorganism. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the next question for, there is a question, Ibu Nina Fapari. Ibu Nina, you still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, this is your question.
Okay, thank you very much. The first question, direct answer. The World Bank, which one of process and social responsibility that needs to be socialized to create public awareness to protect the environment more sustainability. In developing e-commerce, that is an opportunity to market recycled product of economic value to become market opportunity using the e-marketplace platform. And next, the next question.
The other one, please.
Yes, the next
Organization.
question. Internal interaction is carried out by providing guidance to a small medium enterprise in the form of CSR from large company, both private and state-owned, by utilizing existing funding for a social program that provide in crisis expertise of small medium enterprise so as to have a synergy in the development human resource and for company is a form of a social responsibility. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Nina. And the next question, one for Dr. Yuche and one for Mr. Manik. Please, Dr. Yuche.
Yeah, thank you very much. I will answer the question from Ms. Safira Maharani Putri. In its implementation of the result, Iwano activities do not run as it should. So what is the reasons that the Waste Bank have a big influence on the communities around Iwano as a way to develop e-commerce? The reason is why Iwano do not run as it should. First, the weakness of entrepreneurial spirits around the members, and the second, also low managerial skill ability. However, Iwano has facilities as first electronic data capture from the Association of State Bank and also small cell space, which can be utilized as a storage for garbage. And the third, also they have a display rack. Besides, they develop business in West Bank, also can develop e-commerce business as well. And also they get reserves. So why West Bank? First, the reason is, as I mentioned earlier, that small store space can be utilized as a storage for garbage in kind of paper, plastic, bottle beans, gallon, jerrycan, bucket, and cans, where the community can store and exchange into money at the Iwano. And also, maybe Iwano can develop to utilize electronic data capture if Iwano has run as it shows. And the target community around the location. And this solution can strengthen a partnership with other parties in order to improve the performance of Iwano. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ibu Yuche. And the question for Pak Yosef Manik. What do you think the shift of stakeholders' perception in sustainability of Lake Toba tourism after coronavirus pandemic? Would you like to answer directly?
Yes. Well, interesting question. Frankly, I don't have a definite answer to this. Well, COVID-19 is a very disruptive global pandemic problem, so the uncertainty of economic impact alone cannot be predicted very well, let alone a sustainability impact in a broader sense. But however, I have a strong hypothesis that the attitude of the stakeholders is, in this case, Lake Toba stakeholders, is still quite optimistic, just the same as what we got in the last 6 months in our study. So I think they are still quite optimistic. Why? Well, at least I can see this as this is indicated by the continued activity of tourism actors in Lake Toba area. So just a couple of weeks ago, I did some observation around this Lake Toba. Some of the regencies here in Lake Toba are already open the new normal procedure protocol for the tourism. So some transportation modes are serving passengers from Parapat to Samosir, from Bali go to Samosir. But I think this will continue growing in the couple of weeks, regardless of COVID-19. But anyhow, we are doing another research right now to continue this study to see a comparative study between what are the perception of stakeholders before COVID-19 and that after COVID-19. So probably in the next 3 months, we will be able to see the result of this continuing research. So thank you for your question.
Thank you, Pak Yosef. And we will have one presentation for our colleague far away from Baghdad. Prof. Nada, you ready? I'll try to. Prof. Nada, okay.
Yes, hello. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Nania. Miss you.
Good. Yeah, me
How are you?
too. Will you like to present right away because we have limited time?
Yes, I have.
You need. Do you need help, or you will share by yourself? Share the screen by yourself.
Okay. No, you can share screen from your.
Yeah. So you have 5 minutes to present yours. Sorry.
Okay. 5 minutes enough. Thank you very much.
Welcome. You can start your presentation.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Hi, how are you? Yes. Our presentation is about environmental planning as a tool to control Tigris River pollution in Baghdad city. First of all, we have okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we'll hear you clear. Please continue.
Yeah. Because the internet is not stable, I think I cannot share
Yes.
my, so only the voice.
Okay,
First
okay.
of all,
No problem.
yes, I will come to the problem of the research. It's the degradation of the quality of the water of the Tigris River as a result of a discharge of wastewater industrial wastewater into the river without pre-treatment, or their commitment to environmental, or their commitment to environmental standards and determinants by Iraqi legislation and the disposal of liquid waste to the river, in addition to access by the people on both sides of the river. Hypothesis is the project hypothesis depend on that the water of the Tigris River is in governorate of Baghdad is polluted and do not apply to its environmental standards, and all environmental elements and physical and chemical properties of river water are higher than the determinate of and standards by the Iraqi legislation, and not suitable for human use as drinking water or other uses. The purpose is knowing the random access of people and other activities which contaminate the river, finding effective environmental planning solution for the problems, and increasing environmental awareness among citizens and officials due to hazards of their activities. Research methodology. First of all, we trying to find the water quality of the monitoring sites on the Tigris River to the environmental determinants and standards in the law of the Tigris River of the which this law we have to examine or test some samples of water from Tigris River both sides, and for 9 stations, and compare the result with the standards of water elements by the law of Iraqi, which is number 25/4 of 1967. Using environmental impact assessment method as a direct method to know the extent of the effects of industrial and services activities on river water, and selection of water monitoring and planning monitor of water quality, which collect samples from these stations twice a month, where these stations were distributed along the Tigris River in Baghdad Governorate that start in the north of Baghdad and end in the south of Baghdad in the Faraniye region. As we can see here, this is the map of Tigris River, and these are the 9 stations that we are working on. Started from T18, ended in T223. There is a lot of stations all over the Tigris River from the north of Iraq to the south, but we select only these 9 stations which are in the boundaries of Baghdad city. As we can see, this station has distributed randomly on the Tigris River, but we have many places or many polluted source, like I think there is in Arabic, so I have to translate it. It's electrical power, it's oil station, it's many factories of oil factories, and some kind of mechanical factories, and food factories. So these 9 stations that we work in, these are the, in this table we can see this station and exactly the location of it. After we,
yeah.
After we test this this station, this samples of water on this station, we can find that there is these parameters that we are checking. It's beyond the Iraqi standards that we mentioned before in the Iraqi law 25 for 1967. The pH, we can find that the pH value, it's in station 24 or the station 17, which higher than the standards. And if we take a look on the BOD5 test, we can find the BOD5 test. The average is beyond the beyond the parameters, standard parameters, but we can find that there is in T22, it's very high than the Iraqi standards. And if we take a look for the map, 22 is near the food industry and oil stations. If we take a look for the total hardness test, we can find that the T1, T19, and T20, T21, and T24 location is beyond up or beyond the Iraqi standards, and that means that that's indicator for chemical polluted. So we have three indicators here: chemical polluted, and biological polluted, and there is some kind of high acidity in the water. After that, we make environmental assessment for the river, and we find that there are four elements very affected by the pollution, which is the safety and the health. And this effect was long-term and short-term effect, and very and irreversible for the safety and the health, and water element, aquatic life, and water drinking planets. The problem is that the water drinking planets in the river, in the city, was downstream the river. So it's the water come to this water planet, drinking planets, very polluted. So after treatment, we can find that the water result from the drinking water planet is polluted with chemical elements. Maybe they treat the biological element, but the chemical element will stay. So the result and discussion, by comparing results, we found that all values for PO4, PO4 and NO3 is more than the legislation of Iraqi laws, CA and MG2, and we can find the value of TDS average between 955 to 453, which is very high and not healthy for aquatic life like fish and planets. And this indicator for total hardness, we can find it's very high, as we mentioned before. The value of SO4 are ranged between 161 to 309.5 in the station T1, T16, and T.
Halo, Profesor Nada.
Back again.
Almost
Sorry.
finished the
Yeah,
time.
the net is not good. Yes, I think I finished. I have two more slides. The value of SO4 are ranged between 161 to 309. And in the Iraqi laws limitation, it was indicated by 200, so it's very high. These elements indicate that Tigris River polluted with chemical elements and biological elements, and it's a very huge problem that this kind of polluted will stay with the river or the body of the water to go away downstream to reach the Basra city. So the problem is not for Baghdad city alone. It will face the all cities downstream Baghdad, which are maybe it's about I think it's about 10 cities downstream. Conclusion, I can brief it by maybe 1 minute. It was found through the research that water of the Tigris River suffer from severe pollution. It comes from discharging wastewater directly to from several sources, in addition to indirect sources. There is indirect sources. It's non-point source by heavy water treatment plants, factories, and hospitals. Pollutants that are discharged directly to the Tigris River by different activities along on it, it's polluted and lead to deterioration in the quality of rivers water and greatly affected on the organism that lives in this in the water, like fish and plants. This matter requires that the development of urgent plans to address the serious problem, the impact of which exceeds the city of Baghdad, and include all the city as mentioned in the river passed downstream, which ultimately leads to the presence of huge quantities of pollutants in the river upon reaching in Basra, down the last city that Tigris River go for it. And many negative environmental impacts occur on activities depend on this water, such as agriculture, animal, industry, in addition to the direct impact on human health. EIA using by ADHOC method for environmental, economical, social aspects explain that there is a range between no impact, no clear to irreversible and negative impact for the environmental and economic characteristics. We find by EIA evaluation that activities affect on the environmental elements negatively, and their effect will stay for a long term and irreversible, especially for water quality, human health and safety, aquatic life, and drinking water plants. And thank you very much for your attention and give me this chance to participate in this seminar for the second time. Unfortunately, it's virtual this time. I cannot see you and meet you in person. I miss you very much, all of you and I'm very thankful for my dear friend, Dr. Malayati and Dr. Hernani and Astri and all of you. I miss you. I wish I can meet you again in the next seminar of your university. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, we will not take a question for your presentation due to our times is almost finished. Sorry, maybe next time. And we have your email address, then people can ask directly to you. Thank you, Prof. Anada Halifa Al-Rikabi. And This is
Thank
our last presentation, and we will at the end of the session again give applause to the all speakers for the third session, and thank you. And for all speakers, again I will say I say thank you for your preparation, your attendance, and your great presentation. And there is a one information from the organizer. So after the presentation and the paper review, still a lot of process to until the publishing your papers. So actually you will see this scheme in our website too, the International Seminar on Sustainable Development, Sustainable Urban Development website. So after the paper submission, there's a review by the committee. After that, you can revise the paper, edit the paper, and proofreading with the professionals. And after that, we'll submit for the certain publishers or journals that accept your paper. Then we'll need like 4 months or 6 months for this until your paper published. So for other information, you can check regularly to our website. And again, I will conclude this session with the variety of presentation. I hope they will give our more knowledge that our concern to the environment for sustainable development. And I apologize for any inconvenience during this session. I hope we'll meet again, not only virtual, but in reality for our next international seminar of sustainable urban development in next 3 years. Thank you for having me here. Thank you all the participants. I return to the host of the session.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rani, for the moderator, and also all the presenter and participant for your participation. This is the end of this class presentation. Before that, we will let our head of Department of Environmental Engineering to give the closing remarks. So please to Mrs. Pramiati. Mrs. Pramiati. Okay.
Belum di unmute Bu Pramiati.
Okay.
Ya, sudah terdengar.
Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizing committee, let me address a few words to you. During this whole day, all of us have obtained a fruitful discussion in this the 5th International Seminar on Sustainable Urban Development with the theme, The Sustainable Development Goals, Innovation in Environmental Sustainability for the Better World. As we have been gone through the whole seminar, it was very successful. We are now at the end of seminar. We thank all the speakers and the participants for your attendance. Last but not least, I would like to thank all the committee members for organizing the seminar and making the seminar successful. I would also like to apologize for any inconvenience that you might experience during this seminar. While we are in a very strange situation of COVID-19, I wrap up my speech. Keep up spirit and stay healthy. See you in the 6th episode in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you to Mrs. Pramiati for the closing remarks. It means that it's the end of our season today, but before we close the meeting room, we will take a group photo session for the last time. So please be ready, our operator, to take a picture, and everybody can turn on your video. Are you ready, operator? Okay, now we will take from the first screen. 1, 2, 3. Give your smile. Okay, next screen. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next slide. 1, 2, 3. Next slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, sorry. Okay, the next one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is enough. Take your picture. So you can say goodbye and see you on the next international seminar on sustainable urban development. Thank you so much for your participation. Keep healthy and bye-bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Waalaikumsalam.
Professor
Are you all?
Nada.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nada.
Wah, Prof Nada.
Prof Nada.
Bye.
Yeah, congratulations.
Bye.
Prof Nada.